Welcome everybody. Today on the show we have a awesome guest, Jeniji. Dude enlightened me in ways I didn't even know I need to be enlightened. The mindset paradigm shift I got off this man. The the start is gonna be a little rough because I was just like we were chatting and I was just asking him like, what do you do? I've listened to a lot of your audio. I don't understand specifically what you specialize in. And Jeniji just took off. Like he started talking about everything. We didn't even get a formal introduction. This dude, listen up. If you're having some anxiety problems, self worth, self esteem, just an understanding of why things are the way they are, this dude is gonna sit here and just blow your mind. Um, he did for me at least 5 times. I even say it at the end if you make it to the end, because this is a long one. It was like 5 paradigm shifts, and, it was amazing. I love it. Absolutely honored about this. Just for a little bit of housekeeping before we get going, um, I am really doubling down on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. It'll cost you nothing. Can you just go subscribe and, if you're on the computer, just play it on a tab, mute the audio so you don't have to hear it. It'll really help me out. So then I can also show more higher profile guests, hey, I have 30, 50,000 subscribers and at least 30,000 of them always watch. Can I get an hour of your time to chat about whatever? It makes it easier for me to say this. It doesn't cost you a dime, just some time, and it would really help me out. I'm also looking for more feedback, so likes, yeah, the stereotypical like to subscribe. This no, I really need the likes to know what's working, what's not. Please also comment on my podcast platform, whatever you're listening to. I also have a website, so if you feel like you want to personally send me a message on joshboltonshow.com, it is a whole site for you, and you can message me, and I will read it. And if it's really good, I'll even reply back to you. So, without further ado, let's get going and right into it.
Welcome to the Josh Bolton Show, where we dive into interesting and inspiring conversations. And now, your host, Josh Bolton.
That means that memories are the memory of something. It's not the thing itself. So our internal identity is in its like identity. Our real identity has function. Our its like identity only has the memory of when we used it or didn't. And so 99.99% of every emotional or behavior or psychological issue has to do with the treatment of the I am. But the I am can't be treated. You can't treat Santa. What are you going to do? Bring him to drive a thought car to a thought store to get some thought aspirin to deal with his memory of a headache? And so when we really realize that the fastest way to make a change is to help someone understand the 3 doers. The first doer is the habitual one. I'll have another beer. I'll have another cigarette. I'll reach for the strawberry Smucker's preserve at the store. It's the habitual.
Right.
And so everything the body does for the I am is to live out the I am. That's all the body will do. Because the body is told to do what represents the I am. That's who I am, so that's what I do. The second doer is the emotional doer. The emotional doer is still the I am doer, but it's the emotional one of anger, violence, depression. It still represents the I am, and it has no function. So our mental identity has no function. Our emotional outbursts have no function or intention. It's just representing the false identity. And every cure, every PTSD, depression, every cure is the fact that the individual is living in the red and not in the green, which means that if I have emotional issues in the red, that means in the green, I was never taught about my natural ability for emotional control. If I'm automatically saying or feeling things, then I was never taught about the intentional doer. And this is why we teach this. Watch. If you were to think of something you habitually do, because our identity is virtual, which means the only way we can prove we are who we are is to make it physical. And that's why we need a body and products.
Okay.
Okay. So our behavior is specifically designed to match our identity. So everything I do has to be habitual. Everything I do has to be emotional doing because that's the only available. The only way this inner false identity can get the body to move is if the behavior the body's doing represents a habit or an emotional response. Period.
Interesting.
And in sense, intention is of the true self. Watch. Put your hand, if you would, just rest it on a table somewhere
Okay.
and look at it. And
All right.
think of one thing when you go to the grocery store, that hand will automatically reach for it because it's a habit. Mine is Smucker's strawberry preserves. Guaranteed when I go through the aisle, there will be an automatic I'll grab for the Smucker's strawberry preserves. Guaranteed.
Mine would probably be the liquid death water that's out.
Yeah, cool.
Like it's habitual. I just grab it and I don't even think about it.
Yeah. Well, exactly, because the subconscious has already been taught that's a pre-approved behavior and you don't need to think about it anymore. So you're not really making choices in the I am. Instead, you're choosing from choices previously chosen.
Okay.
Okay?
So then how do we catch ourselves?
Ah,
So we
now,
don't
now, watch. The emotional version is fuck you. And all of a sudden, you see the phone flying across the room before they realize that they were the ones that threw it. So that's the emotional reaction side, right? And we
Mhm.
could find emotional reactions. It doesn't have to be that crazy, but there is the emotional side. Now, your hand still being on the left, if you don't intend for it to move, will it?
no.
That's the true I am. That's the original doer, the intentional doer. And that hand will not move unless I intend it to move.
Okay.
And here's where I learned this. So this will wrap it up for you. I was sitting, I was homeless. My life was sucked. I had money and was extremely successful prior, but up here, I didn't know how to deal with my own reality. And so I was literally homeless. I was living in an office, small room, because it scam my way into an office. So I lived there. And I was sitting there one day, and all of a sudden I noticed a thought appear that I didn't ask for. Now, this was
Okay.
new to me. I'd never seen a thought arise. I was just automatically reacting and living them.
Right.
So all of a sudden saw a thought arise that I did not ask for. Second, I had an event at my office one day, and I went into the bathroom. It's the bathroom in the middle of the office. And I'm sitting there, and my hand got about that far away. And I stopped it and I said, "What are you doing, boo boo?" And a memory of about 45, 50 years ago came up. And I remembered my mom used to teach me to turn the water on when she peed because good girls aren't heard peeing. Swear to God.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
know. I want to know how many years I did that habit before I remembered it myself. Now,
So that's
knowing that,
interesting.
knowing that, what is addiction? What is mental illness? Addiction or mental illness is simply we're living in the red, a habitual behavior, and you're not going to have a new habitual behavior because there's no intention or function in the identity to do so.
Interesting. That makes actually a lot of sense for me because so like the reason I started podcasting for me was I was working night shift during COVID, and I got COVID, and like my whole company lied to me. They're like, "Oh, you don't have COVID," and they're like
Oh
running
my
me
God.
like a yeah. I'm like on the floor having a seizure, and they're like, "You don't have COVID. Get back to work, or we're gonna fire you." So I did, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
And then so I decided that moment once I pulled myself together and just went home and I said, "Hell with you. If you fire me, you fire me," kind of thing. But
yeah,
good luck convincing someone to scrub shit off your toilet for 14.50 an hour, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
And then so that's where I did my week recovery. And on my birthday was I said I will never be that person again. And it actually I felt like the voice came in my head and was just like, "You're right, and you never will." And that's where I went from like the sheepish, like, "Oh, please don't look at me," to like, "What are you doing? Like, come here, tell me something."
Yeah.
Like it was like a whole 180 paradigm shift. But like it was just that one day after like I collected myself, I said, "Okay, we are not doing that again. How do we fix this?"
Yes. And what happens is that if you could not find an external solution, because there's no external solution for living in the red.
Mhm.
There's no medication, no treatment. There's nothing that can deal with that. And I don't know about you, but I was on medication since 8 years old. 2006 was my third attempt for suicide. I mean, odds are you and I have lived some pretty fucked moments, and so is everyone else. For a simple understanding, we were never taught how we create our sense of reality. So instead, we're just habitually doing what everyone else is around us doing. And then they themselves weren't taught. And so we are literally living in a world where most people have no clue that they're not helpless or broken, and that those are ideas that are of the mind. But the problem of that is like, I have this analogy of the cup. If I were to get a coffee cup, or at least this,
That works.
right, I get this, and I put something in it.
Right.
Let's see if that'll happen. Ooh, I hear the water. The water's saying, "Cup, you're broken."
It's not.
But watch. If coffee
Mhm.
could tell a coffee cup, or water could tell a water container who it is, that would mean the content would be telling the cup who it is.
Okay.
Our human mind is the cup. The thoughts and beliefs and memories is the content. But yet, the human mind, we allow ourselves to have the content tell us who we are.
That's an interesting shift. I've never thought about that way because I've always thought it was the subconscious and the mind itself that tells the body what to do.
Well, it
I
does habitually.
right.
But what if it was intentional? You are an intentional being. Remember, you weren't born with habits. You weren't born with emotional reactions. So everything you did, the firstborn is intentional. You intentionally tried to grab the rattle. You
Mhm.
intentionally tried to learn how to use a spoon. You intentionally learned how to walk. You intentionally tried to learn how to crawl. And you didn't know what day it was. It was not Thursday, because you were born with a amazing um, function-based mind, and natural abilities of a body, and a intention-based mind. That mind cannot tell the body to do anything unless it's built in. The mind doesn't make shit up. There is no such thing as mind. Mind is just a collection of ideas and beliefs, no different than there's no such thing as a shopping mall. A shopping mall is a collection of stores, no different than mind is a collection of functions. And unless we understand how we're creating our sense of reality, you, me, and all the rest are going to believe we're broken, because function is of the true self, not in memory.
Mhm.
Our natural ability for executive functions. So you asked, if I'm going to automatically say something in habit, or do something in habit. Well, intention is the executive function that stops it all. And that's why the truth of who you are can never actually be harmed by that which you're not, because you have executive function. The mind cannot get you something to do that you intentionally choose not to do.
So then the analogy where I wanted to change, I told it I wanted to change. So that's where it was like, on it, boss. Give us some time, though. All
You
right.
know, this is so new for so many people. And now we've been doing this for 17 years, and I've waited until this year to finally release it publicly because I needed to have a 15-year base period on the
Testing.
first group of clients so I knew long-term results. And I'm one of those clients. So,
Right.
but yeah, and so now we're releasing it because just we're going to fuck up every spiritual program, every personal development program, every medical therapy program, because it's all bullshit, the majority of how they're doing it.
Okay.
Spirituality is our past's past. Yesterday was my past. My past's past was before I was born. Spirituality typically has to do with where did we come from? Who are we? We're a spiritual being having. Now remember, all I can ever actually remember or experience is my actual past.
Mhm.
The past, before birth, spirituality is an idea because
Mhm.
there's nothing there. I was not here. So it's just belief based. Religion is our future's future. Tomorrow's my future. When the body dies, is my future's future. Religion has to do with our future's future, where I go after I die. Spirituality, who was I before I was born? Religion, who am I before I died? And none of that solves the now problem. And so let's look at
Okay.
personal development. Is personal development actually dealing with the now? No, they're dealing with I ams. Is therapy dealing with the now? No, typically they deal with I ams.
Okay. So I'm asking this for a friend. She's
Sure.
dealing with a lot of like anxiety and identity crisis. She believes she's one thing, but I've noticed it in her. She wants one thing, but like her subconscious does another, or the habitual habit,
Yes.
and it's like two pit bulls going at each other. But
Can I actually add something here? Because when you
what?
see this, you'll understand. Is there a way to put an attachment or a link there?
There should be a option to share your screen.
All
I
right, let
haven't.
me
I think it's under more.
let me do this.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
blue
when I
one.
saw you, I listened to some of your interviews, and my thought was, man, if I can get through to him and really help him with some things, it is just amazing what this man can accomplish more than he's done now. Because I'm going to actually give you some solutions, and any time I can find someone to partner with, I'm just looking for those couple of places to really get this out. Uh,
I've shared the option. So if you go to the bottom, there should be the mute
I
and
yes,
yeah. So
pull
there's
this
like
up.
a
So the green,
okay,
this is what I call by the Mimi tool. The
okay,
first the firstborn, the firstborn is my true self. Who are we? Well, we
right,
are born with empathy and compassion, wisdom, emotional control, resilience, all of these things. This is who we are, that we are born with an intention based body, that body doesn't have to move unless I intend it to,
okay,
and an intention based mind, that I don't have to think anything I choose not to think of.
okay,
That is who we are, which means we have complete control over quieting the mind and emotional control. 100% complete control. Every human being is born this way. And
right,
then, and then comes the yellow, the one view illusion. And if we were taught about the one view illusion at around 3 or 4 years old, this is when the idea of theory of mind comes on. It means that we understand around 3 or 4 years of age that I could be thinking something different than you are. It's called theory of mind. That there's an awareness that just because the reality is shown this way, that somebody else could be thinking of it differently. Now, without that in a human being, and 99% of the human beings I work with have never gone past that threshold because they did not have an individual at home to teach them how to utilize that. Instead, they were taught something else. They were not taught how to see thoughts and who they are as different. Instead, they were taught to melt into the one view illusion. And this is the problem. This is the only problem. The problem is that as a human being, both of our eyes are joined into one view. And since the mind will join both eyes into one view, it'll also join whatever else is coming in through the senses and my beliefs, worries, and fears into one view. And in that moment, I am my mind. I am my thoughts. Because we see who we are and what we've been going through. Remember, who we are, the cup, and what we've gone through, the content in the cup, as being the same. It's the one view illusion. We treat the cup and the content the same. And that's the I am. To protect the I am is our emotional I do. This is the us that we say is not us. Well, I didn't do that. They made me do it. I didn't do that. That's not me. I wouldn't have done it unless.
Okay.
And every client I've ever worked with, every client, the key is always to show them that whatever problems they're having in their head is because whatever that circumstance is void of your natural ability to be able to deal with it in the green. And that's it.
Okay.
That's all it's ever been. Then the problem after that is then going in and retraining the automatic I am and the emotional and working with them. But this is what's called by a present moment solution, like snacks.
Mhm.
If I was hungry now, but there was only future-based solutions like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I'd have to stay hungry till dinner. But there's present moment solutions like snacks.
Mhm.
Snickers brilliantly utilized this understanding in their Snickers candy bar commercial, with everyone acting like Betty White because they hadn't had Snickers. And
Okay.
so we provide present moment solutions, which means we wake the individual up. So the function of intention now while we're working on the habitual and the emotion. And so they have something immediately to stop the addiction, immediately to stop the panic and the anxiety, because it's built in. It's who we are. The suffering is proof that we don't know who we are. That's it.
Wow, that was profane right there. Like that was powerful. Because it's true, like for a long time, like I believed or I am ADHD and there was no cure for it. And the friend I was asking for, she has ADHD also. But I told her, I said the part is like kind of what you said, like be intentional, catch yourself. Like if you start getting a squirrel, like my catch is like pinch my thumb. So I immediately feel pain. So I have to be like, oh, okay. I just trained myself. Now it's a habitual habit. That's a good one for me because I can catch myself. But
Beautiful. And you see this for yourself. The problem is we didn't have something on paper to be able to look at and go, my God, yeah, I understand now. I just don't know. And that's been the key. I mean, look at you. Everything you're describing with her or me or you is understanding that, yeah, we just did not understand how our mind creates reality. So it makes it easy to get caught up in the one view illusion.
mhm.
Everyone else, every movie says you are your thoughts and you'll never get over this. So society says that that's who I am. And
That was yeah, that was me too. Because like
yeah,
junior high, they were like, "Oh, you're a monster. You're this. You're terrible. No woman will ever love you," kind of
I'm so
thing.
sorry, man. I'm so sorry,
Yeah,
Josh.
I was at like 12 too. I was at junior high, so that set me on a pretty rough trajectory. And I did. I attempted suicide too. Clearly didn't work. I'm here. But yeah,
Thank
and
God.
that's where yeah. And I actually, my martial arts instructor picked me up 6 months later because I was thinking about it again. I'm like, man, this time I'll just take a whole bottle of Advil, kind of thing. There's no going back from that. Like, hopefully it doesn't hurt. And that's where my instructor picked me up. And because I had a lot of anger, I never got to put somewhere. So he showed me how to put my anger into a bag and use it constructively as a martial artist.
Oh hell yeah, man. And
So,
listen, this is where yoga, martial arts, meditation, all of these things come in. The dilemma for most
mm,
is that it gives you relief, and it's just a shiny object, like giving a kid a new set of keys so they stop crying. It's called a redirect.
right.
So most meditation, most of the stuff out there now is a redirect. So it keeps you in the I am because it's a habit of meditation, a habit of yoga, and it's not moving you outside of it. So it's able to give relief, but it doesn't give you a solution. And so most of the things out there are relief generating, not solution generating. And so that's why I'm literally the last stop. People don't need to go anywhere after they come through this program. And it takes about 8 hours to really get a handle on understanding it. Then we just go through the process of what it takes kind of long term to guide someone through a change. And the reason why I know it works is my mom committed suicide when she was 38. All
Sorry.
growing up as a kid, that's all she would say is suicide. I watched my mom change in the time frame I was born. When young teenage girls are pregnant, they're bad, and they're kicked out of high school, and they're kicked out of their homes. The same was for my mom. She never finished the 10th grade. So here's this teenage kid who was got pregnant by some guy that just got back from the Korean War in his mid
Mm,
20s. So they married. Pretty soon she wouldn't go outside without her makeup on. Pretty soon she wouldn't let anyone touch her unless her legs were shaved. And so pretty soon she lived in I am that she didn't know before, and I lost her. I didn't know that's what was going on at the time. But it's the same thing that happened to you and the same thing that happened to me. We got lost in a mind that we didn't know how to get out of. And
yeah.
we're inside going, I want out, but there was no functions or buttons within the identity that could let us out.
Yeah.
In,
And
in,
yeah, I agree.
in 2000, sorry, in 1982, my daughter was born. In 1983, I had a mental breakdown. I was in the military.
Okay.
It was a suicide attempt. The military doesn't like suicide attempts. They put me in a federal military prison for 6 years. I didn't see my daughter till she was 27. And when they let me back out, the first thing I did was try to commit suicide again. And you know what they gave me when I got out of the mental hospital? A 90-day supply of Prozac and sleeping pills. That's when I knew they had no fucking clue. My mom couldn't get out. My brother died of a heroin addiction, and I damn near died too, and so have you. And this is why I will do everything I can to help. And I can't thank you enough for this conversation and having a chance to share this
Oh,
with
100%.
other individuals. And if there's ever a time you'd like to come on board, I mean, we need good people. I mean, in a lot of different things.
Mm,
We're I don't know what you're doing, but if there's anything on the side you want to sit on a council of and with and be part of and maybe monetize a bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm looking for individuals that were just like me that have been out there trying to help. And if they had these tools to also help people with, just how much of a better helper they can be and better outcome that they can be. And
I
so,
agree. I
you know,
100% agree. Yeah, I've always like my motto when I first started this, like I said, when I was on the floor pretty much having a seizure on at the job, I I just said I was gonna do pot yeah, it was that whole situation was fucked up. I even told my former employer when he was leaving because he heard about the situation from me and he's like, "Why didn't you sue the company?" I'm like, "I didn't know better. Plus, that's annoying. I don't want to pay lawyers a lot of money. I'll just quit instead," kind of thing. But but my rules when I started this podcast is I want it to be if ever little Josh could stumble across something, I want him to find this so he realizes like, oh yeah, that podcast guy, he has no clue what he's talking about, but he's learning that the guest is giving him way more than he came into the room with, and it's like, okay, I'm not alone in this. Like I get it.
That's fucking awesome, man. I mean, I love how that's been the story of our wisdom story. It's like the wheel was invented 4,500 years ago somewhere,
Mhm,
but it meant that only people right there on Earth knew about it. Nobody else on Earth did.
mhm.
And how much knowledge is out there, like what we're sharing now, that's out there that people just don't know that's available to them. So for you to have a platform that not just brings in wheels from
Right.
areas you'd never known, but also for you to then share that, man, hats off to you, man. Fucking hey,
Thank you.
that is a gift of what you're doing. That is a gift.
And that's actually one of those like how you were talking about we were born with certain talents and skills. Mine has always been like not in like a insubordinate way, but I've always challenged people. Even at
Yeah,
in preschool and kindergarten, I was actually kicked out of a Christian preschool. I because I asked too many questions.
man,
Um,
I'd like to buy you a beer in hell over that one because
right? Because they contradicted themselves. They're like, "Oh, you if you do this, this, and this, you will be accepted in heaven no matter what." But then like they skip back a couple verses and it says do this and which canceled everything. That's where I was like, wait. They just said this and you get in heaven, but they say do the same thing and guarantee to go to hell. Which one's correct and which one's not? And they're like, oh, heathen, blasphemy. I'm like, wait, I'm confused though.
it's and I think we're at a point now where, especially with the release of AI,
Mhm.
I think people are going to need more and more of the authentic now more than ever.
Right. That was actually a big one I tell people because they're like, a lot of people still contact me over my show. They're like, what's your thoughts on AI? I'm like, AI will get very smart on strategies, but it'll never fully understand the human emotions. I said,
So
that's the
go.
no. So I just tell them, I'm like, that's the edge we as humans have because emotions themselves are so unpredictable. Like you can predict on how to trigger it, but you don't predict what will happen from it. So that's the part where we humans
Well, you
we
can now. You
sort
can't.
of
Well, again, it's. I always want to be careful when we're talking about the I am, okay? Because you know the 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 I am is not an always. It's not a never, and so it's always wanting to make sure that I'm including the it is version of it. And so there's no habit that can't be changed because it was created. Remember, habit. Yeah, this will blow your mind. You know why most people don't believe solutions are available to them?
why.
Because the real them, the green, their natural abilities have become unconscious to them.
Interesting.
Now watch. At this moment, there's pressure of the shirt on your shoulders.
Mhm.
And until I reminded you, it was unconscious.
Was
And so something that's right here, right now, can be unconscious to us, and how much else of who we are, of our gifts and talents and abilities, are also unconscious to us, and we would swear that they're not here. No different. And
Yeah.
so that's the key is, and then making sure that we understand that the human mind is the only thing I've ever found capable of being taught to tell itself it's broken. And once the human mind has been taught to tell itself it's broken, it can then be taught to tell itself that there is no solution, no cure.
Okay. Yeah,
How?
I want to say I can believe that because when I was taught at a very young age from all the people at school, like you're a monster and this and that.
Yeah.
So I started building that habit of a monster. Um, and then like it was when I was 26, I left my old job at 30. So by 26, I started to realize something's wrong. And then 2 years later, because I started in 18, 2020 is when the lockdowns happened. So by then I couldn't get into the doctor. Fun fact for you. So the doctor, Indian guy, when I needed my health insurance and all that, because California, they got some health insurance rules I don't like. But so I did it, got my Kaiser Permanente and all that, and the physician, the doctor prescribed me meds and all that. Like, how long have you been on these meds? Proper Indian dude. Wouldn't say anything bad or politically incorrect. I'm like, oh, last I can remember, like this cocktail I've been on since I'm 13, but I've been on it since I was 8. And he sat there and he said, the medicine you're taking specifically is anti-seizure side effect antidepressant. The other one pill I was taking was a mood amplifier. And then I was essentially, so my brain's really slow, I'm really emotional. And the third one was legal speed. He's like, I'm surprised your brain can even function right now. He's like, it should technically be mush right now because you've been running in the red for like 13 years. And I told him like, I guess I'm just made of tougher stuff. The thing he said, he's like, do you remember opening the doorknob coming into my building? And I'm like, well, yeah, I opened it. But he's like, no, it looks very specific. What does it look like? I'm like,
Just habitually opened it.
yeah. And that's where I was like, I literally, I can't call it. I don't know why. And he said, that's because the drugs have fucked up your brain so much you can't remember anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. I would say that what it really is this.
Okay.
There's this constant thought stream
Okay.
just running in our head. Just chatter, 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 chatter. And if awareness is gone from the pressure of the shirt on the shoulders,
Right.
wouldn't awareness be gone for the doorknob?
Yes. You're just going through the motions at that point.
That's it. And the reason is no one's ever taught anyone how to actually see their subconscious. So they have no clue what a projection looks like, no idea what the thought stream looks like. If you have a book, it takes 30 seconds to show you. I'll show you, you'll meet your subconscious. Just
There's a book on the shelf. Hang on.
I,
Oh, there we go.
preferably find something that's just text, not pictures or anything when you open it up. Just try to find a couple of pages that just text. Well, perfect. Now, if you would, I don't want you, so if you would just look at the page and tell me what's the first thing you see when you look at the page. When you turn it around and look at it, what's the first thing you see?
Let go of things.
Okay. Now, if you would, go ahead and turn it around so just you're seeing it. Now, if you would, I want you to just look at a paragraph somewhere in the middle and just kind of glance at it. You don't really need to focus. Your gaze is that way, but you're not really having to focus on anything.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you, are there words on the page?
Yes.
Words are on the page. Okay.
On this side of like on the paper itself, yes.
Okay. So I want to ask you something. If I didn't speak English and I looked at that, what would it be now?
It would be words in a different language on a piece
No,
of
you keep using the word words. How do I know that if it's a different language?
Okay, okay, I get where you're going now.
Now look at the page again. The words are not on the page.
Right here.
Yes.
Okay,
Welcome to the one view illusion. Now look around at everything, and your subconscious will say, wall, tree, thing.
okay,
That, that is the subconscious thought stream constantly going in the mind, constantly here. And most people can't see beyond the thought stream. Beyond the thought stream was the doorknob. All they saw was an automatic turn and twist or whatever it was.
okay,
The words are not on the page. Just look again. Just look at the page. The
okay.
words are not on the page. Just sit. This is the most important thing I can give you as a gift. The words are not on the page. Look at it again until you have the inside of it. Don't just know it. The words are just on the page. No, they're in your
Okay,
mind.
so
Yes,
then I'm just curious then, since we're going down this route, um, if there's the words are not on the page, how am I still able to read it though?
because how do I put this? A B C D E F G
If it,
H
okay,
I. Your
what I
mind
was
has patterns. Your mind has patterns,
okay,
and it knows that this letter and this letter and this letter equals that word. It's a pattern.
hmm,
Okay. Now, you
getting that now.
you don't look out in your eyes, Josh.
Is it like the third eye too?
Don't fuck with any of that bullshit. You
Okay,
don't look out your eyes. Remember, senses are input devices, not output. Can you see in the dark? Are there flashlights? No, it's an input, not an exit, not an output.
okay,
Light does not come out the eyes. Light goes in the eyes. And so
okay,
reality is happening in here. And since reality is happening in here, there's the reality of what is, and then the reality of what's being made of it.
okay.
And most people's automatic is they only see what's being made of it. They can't see actual reality.
It's because actual reality is too hard
No,
for them.
actual reality is not what they're under the influence of.
Okay. So how does one maybe like let's say they're listening and they're still a little confused on it. How does one catch like their subconscious? Is it like when you ask yourself a voice
It's
you
all the
normally don't
doer.
hear?
It's all the doer.
Okay.
Guaranteed. It's all the doer. Every time you do something, it's easy to know right off the bat. Was it a habit emotional or did I intend it? If you didn't
Interesting.
intend it, what should you go back to do? Panic, whatever that is. Are you intending to have a panic attack or is this a habitual or emotional or intention? Intention brings back every time, every time, every time, every time. Because nobody intends to be panicked. Nobody intends to be broken.
Right.
They were taught. But here, intention is the only way back out. And you don't have to go anywhere. Dog never went to dog paddling school, never had to see a dog have to be taught how to paddle. I've never seen a baby have to go to baby laughing school. We automatically know how to laugh. We automatically know the difference between what is and what isn't. We automatically know these things until we have been so conditioned to be hooked on the thought stream. And now, really, all we see is the thought stream. And we don't see beyond it.
Yeah.
My
I feel
job
like I
has
would say
been
I
to
feel
help.
like you yanked me out of that for sure.
Yes, my job, the gift I've spent 17 years to learn to understand is that transition point. How we go asleep, how do we wake back up? And that's what I've spent everything to do. I mean, think about it. You know why most businesses fail? They sell to an IM that will only do what the body is supposed to do to act out that identity. So if they buy a new product, it's not habitual. They won't use it. So most people try to better themselves buying products that will better themselves, but there's no intention of the IM to ever use it. Because if they did, they'd have to become a new IM because to use it, they'd become a new person. They'd have a new portion of life. They'd have a new thing they do. So they can't change their identity,
So
which
that
means that
actually,
so
sorry, you go.
the habitual IM with an I do that won't do anything except what it's been taught to do now just bought a product and the IM's back on, wonder who's going to do it? I can't. And 99, every coaching program, every therapy, every program is that they don't understand that they're selling to an IM and they did not wake up the intentional doer to now go use the product. Because you're not going to be able to create a new habitual IM. They just signed up. How long is that going to fucking take? We're not going to get them to change their emotional reactions. That's going to take some time to rewire the mind. And so the only way anyone can ever get anyone to do anything is to bring them back to intention. Why do
Okay.
so many programs have a failure rate? Why do so many therapy and coaching programs and schools and lessons? That's why we were brought into San Francisco State University and several other places to help them on some things because they just didn't understand. And this is where you, right now, through intention, don't need to replace your past. And why would you when you can just intentionally move on from it? You don't need to change any habit. If when it pops up, you can intentionally stop it at the incredible mouse before it gets to the incredible Hulk. Then in the stopping of it is the new teaching that the mind and body is learning, not memorization, as if it's a new phone number.
Right.
You know? So
Okay.
the step one is this always, and you don't need a step 2 or 3. Step one is, did I just say something habitually, emotionally, or did I intend it? And if you cannot say that you intended it, then you know where you were. Cool.
So,
I just said something or did something emotional out of habit,
yeah.
and I now see that. What would I rather do instead? Because now I'm in intention and I can do something else instead.
Okay. So then I'm just curious for you. You would definitely would have the answer then. I've always wanted to write a story, but every time I sit down in front of my computer, I freeze. Like
Of
literally,
course.
I like my hands. I'm like having to like do this. I'm like, move, damn
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So what you're saying is your true self intentionally wants to do something
Mhm.
that you keep allowing unknowingly the habitual I am that doesn't want to.
So for that case, would I just literally have to muscle my way through it and just
Well, you
put
don't
my
have to
hands on the keyboard?
muscle. Well, here's the muscle's a good word. It just seems like it's going to be so much fucking work. But have you ever had your bladder tell you that you needed to go pee, but you're in a situation that you can't, and you notice about 2, 3, 5 minutes later that sensation went and went away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So same concept. Okay. Okay.
because because habitually the body sends you a signal, the mind sends you a signal, gotta be a body signal, and you did what? I intend not to at this moment. It's the same thing. You just never noticed.
Hey, you saved like right there. That was like the light bulb for me. That is because I have a lot of stories since a very young age, and I've always wanted to put them on paper, even if I don't get them published. But it's one of those every time I sit with my fancy little Bluetooth keyboard I even
Yeah,
bought,
yeah, yeah.
nothing. I just literally my hands sit there.
Well, here you are, that intentional creator wanting to share something with the world. That's part of the truth of who we are. We're creative, we're curious, we're explorers, right? We share and do cool things because that's our natural state of being. And then you sit down to the keyboard and the thought stream takes over. And we want to call that procrastination. But what it really is my I am is not the type of person that would do this.
So then to build a
Or
new
you
one.
already would have. Well, you just do it
Okay.
because it has nothing to do with your identity. I mean, the moment you realize that red is just all made up, I don't even call it a fucking identity. I mean, I just don't live with that shit anymore. If I want to
Right.
do something, I intend to do it. If I don't, then I don't. And I just don't fuck around with the red shit anymore because we were never meant to begin with. It's just habits. We could have been taught to pay attention to the dust in our belly button. Instead, we were taught to dwell and focus on thoughts and emotions. It's the same shit.
So then also would that be like the fear of posting, like someone listening wants to start a YouTube channel? I'm just giving a hypothetical.
Sure, sure.
Their fear is to post because the like Twitter mob would come after them. Although Twitter's
Yeah.
failing, so that's a different story. But um,
Well, no, that's the I am. Because remember, the I am isn't someone that would do it or it already would. And so
so
the frank, the emotional is giving all the reasons why.
okay,
See,
so
the
okay,
the 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 I am is a what. What do? I do this habitually.
mhm,
The I am is a what. It's the habit. The I am is also an emotional why. And that's the emotional side. Now, what did you do? The habit side. But why? Anytime there's a why or because, it's emotion driven every time.
yeah.
It's not the true self.
And my ego is completely shattered right now because it's now my whole brain's like freaking out. Like, well, what are we doing? What are we doing?
But what's happening is, and that's a good thing that you can watch it. And
Mhm.
you said my brain, right, is doing it. It's not that I'm doing it. So you could
Right.
even hear the disconnect that a dewey's happening, like having to pee, but I just really don't fucking need to do or anything to do about it. I have something else I'm going to do. Thanks, brain. Thanks. That's right. Life sucks. I appreciate it. Anyhow, thanks, sensation. Oh, you're right. I got to pee, but I can't right now. Anyhow,
Right.
if it's not intention, you have to bring it to intention, and it's over. And then the next time, bring it to intention. Just like fucking learning a new phone number. Except I'm not trying to memorize my behavior. I'm trying to teach my subconscious what it does. So in habitually it going, you can't do it is you can do anything you want because emotions aren't what's going to fucking do it. I mean, you just find the reality that's true. I don't do this because I want to experience an emotion. I do it because I have a passion for it. And if the way my mind was previously taught gets in the way of that passion, well, then it's no different than an 8-year-old come up to me and saying you can't do it. Am I going to listen to an 8-year-old? I'll
No.
listen to a previous thought. Remember, it's still going to pop up. But if it doesn't match my new intention, I wouldn't want to answer it because it's the me that I used to be. And that's the time. That's what takes time. It takes time for the person to get used to not automatically hooking onto that thought and coming back to intention. Because pretty soon the habit is what? Attention.
Yeah, intentionally being here, intentionally being like with the
Mhm.
present kind of thing.
So this way, my habitual and my emotional now represents my true self, not the person I was taught to be. Remember, our mind was taught to habitually and automatically give us a life much different than the one I would choose.
Mhm. Is that because of like previous conditioning from our parents and school system, or is
Yeah,
it
all of it, not
okay?
knowing, them not knowing, them knowing, didn't say. I mean, it's from all of it. Again, if reality is only what is now and the true self is what's now and the natural abilities of the body is now, and the functions I have in the mind is now, then anything that does not represent now could not represent intention.
So essentially, Nike kind of like summarized in 3 words: just do it.
You're a
Pretty
now
much.
year old. Well, you're a now year old.
Right.
But that's all you could be. That's all you could be in actual reality as a now year old. You can only be that which is true now. That's it. That's reality.
Okay. So the present or the now is reality. The past is done, and the future is yet to come. So be here.
Yes. I can't solve my past from beliefs in the past. It's not now. The function to be able to solve it is now.
Mhm.
I can't stop an emotion from something I learned yesterday if it's not a habit. Instead, I need to be able to do it intentionally now.
Okay.
I can't stop a behavior I don't want to act on if it's automatic. Instead, I have to turn it off intentionally. I choose to no longer give these thoughts a voice, and I choose to no longer give those emotions a behavior. And that becomes your new you, the you in the mind. All that's left is intention.
I'm sure you have the answer to this. So how long would it take once you're being intentional? Does the intention become habit? So, like, let's say
So,
someone suffers from porn addiction.
yeah.
How long would it be before they realize, like, okay, after X amount of time, it's not just it's not intention. It's become habit now.
The way to answer that is through a direct experience.
Okay.
The only thing I tell people, the only high tech tool I use is a plastic cup. It's the only tools I use is a plastic cup. And the plastic cup teaching goes like this: take a cup, put it next to your bed with a little bit of water,
Mm.
and sit it next to your bed and look at it and say to yourself, where's the cup? And then lay back down. Where's the cup? Where's the cup? When you wake up in the morning, you're going to get up and you're going to just habitually get up how you normally habitually get up. And you're about to put your foot over and oh, shit, the cup. Where's the cup? Where's the cup? So the first time it's going to be a failure because it's not habit yet, right?
Mm.
And so that morning, where's the cup? Where's the cup? Where's the cup? When you go to bed that night, where's the cup? Where's the cup? Where's the cup? And what's going to happen is inevitably you will wake up one morning, and before you even move the covers, before you even consciously think, where's the cup, that pop into your head automatically. And in that moment, by a simple exercise, you will now understand how to retrain your mind on anything you choose to retrain it to do. Everything I teach is for the individual to actually know how to utilize it purposefully. So the amount of time it takes for someone to wake up and say, where's the cup, is personal. It's going to depend on their intention that night. If they mean it, I mean, the mind, we can't fool ourselves. You actually have to want to do this. And when someone does, usually takes about 10 days, 8 in some, 12,
Okay.
14 in
So
the next. The old bullshit, if it takes 21 days for a habit, it's all bullshit. It just depends on the stability of the prompt. Remember, you can't just wake up and move, oh, I wonder where the cup is. No, it's where's the cup? And so it really depends on, because you can't memorize your phone number with them being random numbers. You wouldn't be able to recall the exact same thing as a phone number. So it's the same thing in the mind. And then once someone sees that, they see how every one of their habits were created, and they know that they have built it within themselves to solve whatever's been going on. It's built in for you and all of us.
okay. So then this just kind of popped in my brain. Would like journaling also sort of help with? I'm not talking like the today Lucy looked at me and said I was mean. It's like the like more bullet points and like, okay, I did this, I need to work on this kind of thing. And then
Right. Right. So what I always tell everyone is don't do anything until
okay,
you have the and the cup exercise is one of the first things I introduce because it takes that 7 to 10 to 14 day time frame. So I need it to age while we're working with them on other things. And so um, it's it's the same. It's when you understand that ability to naturally reframe the mind. There again, it's I bought an RV in 2000. I spent a year in it to go teach. My
okay,
dog spent the first night with me. I got out of bed, and when I went to hit the floor, I actually stepped on the dog. Didn't realize he was sleeping on the floor next to my bed in the RV. I
okay.
then started the cup exercise,
Of course
but
it
in
off.
this case, it was where spirit,
Mhm.
and it took about 10 days. And it was on that journey that understood how to really quickly retrain the mind where the human being sees that whatever addiction, whatever habit, sexual, could be hurting themselves, could be emotional reaction, whatever that is once they understand how to reprogram the mind, they can then be shown how to take on whatever those addictions or other things are, to then literally within a very short period of time of reframing it. Most addictions, it's faster to introduce a new expression. So, for instance, I'm not calling my dealer, I'm calling my sponsor. I'm not having a meltdown, I'm calling my coach. I'm not smoking cigarettes, I'm eating chewing gum. And so the ability of reframing a habit can be very quick in comparison to creating a new one like the cup. But once they have the understanding of the cup, then reframing other ones are even that much easier. But I always go for the reframe. I always go for knowing how to redo the cup first. So then they know functionally there's nothing anyone can never tell them that they're helpless about again. Ever.
Okay. That that's good. Like I know a lot of people, especially since like the lockdowns with COVID, that like a lot like the reason I brought up porn addiction is I did have it for a while. It was I'm starting to catch myself slip back. That's what I was also asking for myself because it's like I don't want it to get to where the point where I have actually missed interviews over it because it's like sitting there for like 3 hours and it's like why isn't anything happening? And then it's like oh crap, I had someone like an hour ago I was supposed to interview kind of thing. So I that's where I was just asking for myself also very selfishly so I don't slip back to it.
Well, me too. I mean, listen, in 2000, sorry, in 1987, I bought a carpet company. In 1990, I bought an ice cream store, built a vending company, and a newspaper. By 1987, I was homeless, broke, a meth addiction, and basically living out of a car that if they could find, they would repossess.
Mhm.
And so that then led to suicide and led to everything else. And I was told that you will never get over the addiction. It's a disease. I was told because I had my own sexual issues as well, right? I mean, it's when we realize that a fantasy is just between me and my beliefs. There's nobody there but me. And so I'm literally taking the I am, what we're making in the mind, and making it emotional and having an orgasm. And it's exactly the same thing that creates panic. There's nobody there but me and my thoughts, nobody there but you and your fantasy. And so if I can have an orgasm over something not there, then I can create depression over something not there. I can be excited about Santa even though there's no one there.
Right.
And this is the illusion of the one view. We treat what's in the mind as equal to what's in the real world. And then pretty soon, the real world isn't giving us what we want. Only the fantasy world does. Because there's nobody there needed but me. It's all
So,
right, man.
yeah, that's kind of one of those. That's good. Um, it's true though. Like as I thought about it, like a lot of things I do. Actually, a lot of people have been saying this to me, but I'm getting better about it. Is I like I was telling you about the writing thing. It's like, what do I do? You're like, just do it, but understand like the process of it. Because, so my one cousin, I'll actually throw her into this. She had a tantrum over not getting a car, and it was this whole big deal. And but she knows me, and I'm very blunt about things, and I don't really mince my words. So when she like sheepishly came to everyone, tail tucked for her tiny like between her legs and stuff, and finally I'm like, hey, how are you doing? Like, why were you crying in the car over there? I'm like, it's a great car, I get it, it smells good. And I think, well, why were you crying? And she's like, oh, I wanted my own car. I she's like, and then I saw you came in, I didn't want to come out, and I'm like, why? She's like, because you always call out everything you see. I'm like, oh, I mean, it's just who I am. And that's what puzzled me for a second. I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess I believe that I'm always the one that has to call out things that I see. So is that a good belief or is that a bad belief?
Well, it's good for you. It fucking sucks for most people.
Okay.
I mean, when it really comes down to it, there's 8 billion people with an opinion, but only one person has a fucking say. You.
Mhm.
Yeah, but that's not what we look. We look for other people's self-esteem. Instead of, it's not self-esteem, it's what other people think of me self-esteem.
Mhm.
It's still the I am. It's still looking for approval. It's still looking for a place to play out its I am. So it doesn't have to be emotional because people won't let you call them out anymore. I mean, think about it. What happens if you can't live your habit? What happens?
For like the first day or two, you start kind of glitching. You're like, but after like a few days, you're just like, ah, all right, well, can't do that anymore.
Well,
Figure
right,
out.
right, right. But what I'm saying is that I mean, if you can no longer call anyone out or whatever you want to call it, it's
Oh, that one. Okay.
you know, it's like it's what part of your I am says that that's the best use of your relationship and friendship with someone. How's that
Is
relate
to
to to friendship?
I haven't actually had that many friends. So
Huh?
I said, to be honest, I haven't had that many friends in my lifetime because I was so outcasted. Again, with the mindset I was a monster. Um, but like generally speaking, though, for the few friends that did stick around, it was good because they would always call me and be like, "All right, I'm with this. You're not directly involved. What am I supposed to do?" I'm like, "Well, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. This is like stupid. Why the hell did you do that one?" Kind of thing. And they're like every time, like the next day or two later, they're like, "Man, I feel like every time I call you, you're like that. The voice I was already hearing in my head, just double reassuring it for me." And I guess I took so much pride in that. I was like, "Good. Like at least I got through to you."
Well, again, but if you don't know who you were talking to, how did you get through to them? Were you talking to a habitual mind, or were you talking to a present moment human being?
It's usually the ones that I like. Sorry, I'm gonna let you go with that.
No, no, no. It's what time is it?
It's 4:44. Do you
Great.
have an
No, no, you're a habitual human being. Let me ask you something,
Oh, okay.
right? Think about that, right? Out of all the places that you could have looked, how many options did you give you in that moment? Bam, just that one. So
One,
it wasn't really an option, it was just a habit.
right.
So do you have an option of not telling people what time it is?
Yeah.
So Do people always ask you what time it is?
Yeah, actually.
Well, why isn't that your habit instead of telling people what you think of them? Bingo, huh? Because it has nothing to do with what they want. It has everything to do with what you want your I am to live out as. They're just the people you're projecting the words onto so you can live it out. Remember, you need an object like a book.
Mhm.
So I am here for an I am to project their beliefs onto. So
Okay.
when you see someone, part of what comes up like the word is, I gotta tell them what I think.
So then I guess my new habit to build is to not necessarily say everything I see.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
What do you mean you see? With your eyes or with your mind?
I guess it would be the eyes. Like,
Ah, yeah. So you probably won't have a lot to say then, will you?
yeah,
Ah,
because the I was very proud of the skill, but now I realize it was terrifying for others.
that's it.
I could figure out a person within 3 questions, all their crippling insecurities. Um,
Well, you thought you could. You were probably close because those are habits, but it wasn't actually true.
right, and that's where I'm starting. Like that's where I'm catching myself and stopping because it's like I it was pretty accurate. Like 90% of the time, I got it right. Um,
Yeah.
and it was just one of those. So I believe like, oh, I am able to read people on a such deep level that no one else can. But
Yeah.
now
Well,
it's
so
like
here's a quick question. I was taught to drive on the left side of the road. Oh no, was it the right side of the road? How about you?
America is on the right side and left is in Europe.
So, are you really that good then at guessing on which people drive on what side of the street? Come on, you're good at habitually looking for things in people that were habitually taught to do those things.
Oh,
Are you really that
hmm.
good?
No, then I wouldn't be.
No.
I was just looking for an easy prey,
Well,
essentially.
you were just looking to live out whatever that belief was, because it was something that added of some value to you, and what a gift! You thought you were bringing value to your friends and value to the world. It isn't true in the world of reality, but since most of the people that you're with are as asleep and on that as much as you or I've been, then it makes sense to them because I don't know how much of your advice to them would have been to go to the green,
Thinking about it, I
which is the
would
actual reality of what they should be doing.
right. I guess what I was doing is reassuring that they're
That your
that
belief came true.
yeah, I would say reassuring my belief came true, but also like for them, it's just like like the words they said, echoing what I was already thinking, kind of thing. Um,
Or do you really hang out with people that much different than you?
most of the friends that stuck around were pretty much like me.
Oh,
Sometimes a little bit meaner too.
well, Frank, the mind's always looking for people that won't challenge itself.
Hmm.
Listen, you are like me and all of us. Just didn't know them.
Right.
And when all of a sudden we find some answers, I mean, I've been doing this for 17 years, and it took 17 years to talk to people from all over this world to find a piece of the puzzle there and a piece there, and then found it within me, and then I'll find a piece within you. And and here we are, the truth of who we are has been scattered to the wind because we've been replaced by an it's like I am in the mind that has no abilities, no function. You know, the I am has no intention of doing anything. It can only promise. A promise is its like for intention. I promised, but the doer doesn't show up on a promise, does it? That's why they have to say, but I promised. There's no intention there. Because if they promise to do something, then it's just, and they don't have intention to do it, then it's a frank, it's just a lie to get people to shut up. Yeah, I'll do it.
Notice, okay, yeah, I noticed that. Like, especially even before this day, chatting with you, I've noticed people say, "Oh yeah, I'll get to that, I promise," or like, "Oh," or afterwards, like, "Ah, man, I'm sorry," kind of thing.
Remember, it's
And
not part of their automatic I am, so they're not going to do it.
right. So for a business situation, when it's a diverse amount of people, how do you set that up so it flows better? Because this is ingenious. Like if a CEO can, I don't think a full like Coca-Cola would implement this, but like if a company can build this from the ground up, this would be a powerhouse of a company. So how
The,
how would you structure like teach? Let's say I'm the CEO and I called you for that. How would I structure it so my employees are doing what's best for them at that
of
kind of thing
course,
without
I will
because
actually, I'll actually show you through a share.
perfect.
So the first thing that we're doing is where we've created a system. Can here, hold on.
Yours
Share.
should be
There we go. All right. Can you see?
Mhm.
All right. So this is the front end.
Okay.
Our free giveaway is Helper Snacks.
Okay.
Helper Snacks is going to be for our podcast, our newsletter, our free giveaway training video segments, as well as a late night kind of off the record kind of a conversation. All that's part of what we give away. So when we're on your podcast, they would go here to get that. And then they get a free ticket to Helper Camp. Helper
Mhm.
Camp is where we teach what I've just been talking about. So I just wanted you to see that all of our promotions goes to Helper Snacks. Helper Snacks is our value item. It's our interest-based hub, all our free material. Then you go to Helper Camp. Now, what happens in Helper Camp? Helper Camp, the product for a business is this. I'll show you exactly how we work things. The key to onboarding anyone is asking, who am I onboarding? Because the I am is habitual.
Mhm.
I don't want to onboard the I am because they only do what they're normally used to doing. Okay? And I don't want to onboard the emotional I am because the emotional I am that the doer is either going to be, oh, I love this. This is amazing. Yay. But then there's no intention to do anything with it. Or it's the fuck you. This sucks. You guys took my money. I want my money back. Right. So I don't want that. So if I'm going to onboard, the very first part of this is what I call the three I do's doer swap. The very first lesson in my onboarding is to teach them about the habitual doer, the emotional doer, and the intentional doer. And they will go through
Okay.
some exercises of knowing the intentional doer. Why? Because if I don't have the intentional doer, they're not going to go any further. Next, they're going to get a map of the program and they're going to get the creed. And this is where they pick their why they want to be here, why they want to make the change. So that's the onboarding. When we go to the pre training, The pre-training is here. In the pre-training, you're going to understand the I do three. The I do is the intentional. The I do one is the habitual. And I do two is the emotional. But what happened to the original you? Remember, the I am is belief based. And whatever's in the I am is called OOU, one of
Okay.
us.
One of us.
And if it's
Okay.
not one of us, it's other. And we have been taught what about others compared to one of us? What have we been taught?
They're over there. They're bad. We over
Yes.
here are good.
So anyone teaching you something that you don't believe is automatically another.
Is that why, like, because I listen to a lot of audiobooks and that's how I got myself to where I'm at? Is that why certain audiobooks, when I listen to it, I'm like, I'll get through this, but I don't fully agree with it.
Yeah,
And it
because
doesn't
we're
always
yeah,
stick?
exactly because we've been taught to live by opinion, not by facts and functions and elements and abilities. Remember, the I am is in its light. All it has is an opinion. It can't actually do anything. So the I am believes the opinion is the doing.
Mm. Oh, yeah. How many paradigm shifts I've already gotten just chatting with you? Thank you. That's a good point. We
If
were
it's
never,
not intentional,
right,
it's not intentional. And that's the key. When I'm talking to someone, I have to ask, who's talking? What am I currently under the influence of? Because if I'm under the influence of something, I'm going to be recruiting them to match that. If I'm not under the influence of a have to or a habit or an emotional reaction, and I'm present, now I can be adaptive with you because I'm adaptive. I'm not in the red box. Now I can be
right,
intentional with you, not habitual or emotional. I don't have to make a promise. I actually will do it.
right,
And so whenever you're, whatever it is, again, we were taught to self-analyze. Why? You don't have to look for the monster under the bed. There's no fucking monster. So I look.
right.
We don't have to ask why anymore. We just go straight to intention. Well, why did I do this one? I don't know. What would you rather do? This? Well, then just intentionally just go do that.
Oh, what if the ego fights back though? How do you get the ego to
What's
calm
there to
down?
fight back?
Because if maybe the
Oh,
ego
no,
doesn't
no, no, no,
believe.
no, 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 no.
Okay,
Come
sorry.
on.
Continue.
Sit there intentionally and you try to tell yourself presently that your habit can get you to do anything you don't choose to do or can't stop.
Okay. Yeah.
So, what in anything can you not intentionally stop? Should you start acting that way or talking that way or feeling that way? What is it in your mind that you could not intentionally stop?
Maybe then it's the mind doesn't fully believe it can change.
How can the mind believe it's based on beliefs? What do you think a belief's going to believe? Does Santa believe in dogs? Come on, this is where, right? This is the
Yeah.
insanity, right? It's a belief, but I'm not seeing it as a belief. Every question you're asking
It's a
is to
belief.
somehow show me that my beliefs are actually there and real. Remember, everything in the mind is virtual. You actually have to act it out for it to be turned real. And so the only reason why stuff seems real to you is you're acting it out first. Remember, we
Dang.
see the overlay
Yeah.
before reality.
So it's the filters essentially, like how our minds have built like the stereotypical, the rosy shade color sunglasses. Like
Yes.
we've it's not a literal sunglass, but there's a filter, and we only perceive it a certain way.
Yes. So when you see this is the curriculum, one of the benefits of understanding the curriculum is understanding Frank. And
Frank.
this is, yeah. So let me show you. What if in reality, light goes in the eyes,
Okay.
and that as a present moment human being, what is can see what is as what is. So if you look on the screen, what is coming through the eyes, it goes through the brain, and we see it as it is.
Okay.
What is it? It's that. And the same thing is coming through the eyes, and it's going through our subconscious that I call Frank. And now Frank is putting up here its habits and its emotions about what came in. So every moment of every moment, we have this is what is, and we're like, and our subconscious is like that guy in the alley pulling open his, want to
The
buy a
trench
thought?
coat, like, hey,
Yeah.
you want some
You want to
fun?
buy a thought, right? You want an emotional reaction, and it's just that way all the time. There's what is, and the thought stream that I've been talking great about it, and it's happening all the time, all the time. It's like having the TV on, what is, but what's on the TV is a program made 20 years ago. And we have to
Right.
understand the difference between what is and what's presenting itself as what is. Because that memory might be remembered now, but it does not reflect what is reality. And so if I blame that memory, not only does it not have function to solve the memory, but it doesn't have function to do anything against us. Remember, it's just the milk in the cup.
Right.
And so what happens is that after a while, we start treating the overlay as reality because we're stuck in the one view illusion. Remember, what is and what we make of it, both eyes are blended in. So we literally believe if I think it, it must be true. If I feel it, it's proof it must be true. And then what happens? Pretty soon, the overlay becomes our primary reality. And we argue that actual reality is a lie.
So,
You go tell somebody
okay.
with addiction that it's not a disease. You go tell someone who spent 40 years having panic attacks and depression, tell them that it's not real, they'll punch it because it
Yeah.
is real in the illusion, but it's not real in reality.
100%. Don't know if you can hear me or not, but you're lagging really hard. Um, Jeniji?
For the last hour or so, and look at just those three things, how much it's made a difference in your life. Now you get into something that's an actual structured teaching like what I have, and it's through the whole program. And this is why I do what I do. I don't go on vacation. I get up every morning at around 5 or 6, and I'm in my chair till 10, 11, 12 that night. And my team and I put in 16, 18-hour days to get this out to the world because I truly believe that we solved the problem.
Have. You really have. honestly, like, from all the motivational books and self-help books and whatever books, they hint at this idea, but they never go into it. And I think, yeah, you put it in such a simple way that even an average Joe that's just mindlessly consuming can even be like, "Wait a minute, he said something." Like me, like I said, I had like 4, 5 paradigm shifts already.
Well, that's why Tracy and the team is trying to get me on podcasts. And unfortunately, there's just a lot of podcasts out there that are just their whole podcast is about, trying to bring help and health to people. And it's amazing. The products that are being sold out there, the machines, the this and that. And listen, all I can say is therapy and the meds and all the crap kept me alive long enough so I could figure this out for myself. And so the yoga and the therapy and the machines and all of that, it's there to keep people alive until they can finally see what's actually going to help them.
100%. 100%. Well, it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure. I truly, I mean this. Like, I will be calling you in the future to come back on just to be also like, all right, now I'm here. What do we do?
Good, 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 good. So, um, was this our like pre-interview interview kind of thing, or what are we doing here?
That was, I just considered that the interview.
Good. I hope so.
Yeah.
What did you record it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, because this is how I like just talking, just kicking back and having a conversation. Oh, good for you, man. Yeah, it's the best way to have a conversation, dude.
Honestly, that's kind of my motto is like how I explain it to people on the show here. I'll turn it off. So, well, actually, hang on. I'll
Yeah, let's
cut that
do the
out.
whatever outro, whatever you need.
All right. So tell everyone where they can get you at.
Well, we've got an amazing thing called Helper Snacks, bite-sized pieces of insights and things that can help us along the way. So go to helpersnacks.com, and included with that is a free ticket to Helper Camp, where we'll spend 5 days for free together, just helping you learn this a little bit more and being able to live the life you're meant to have, not the one your mind was chaotically taught to give you.
Thank you so much, Jeniji. This has been an absolute honor and a pleasure. Truly, I'm going to be having like the best dreams of my life trying to figure out, okay, what do we do now?
Yes. Well, I'd like to maybe at some point we'll edit this off, I'm hoping, but at some point would
Yeah,
love to set up a regular once a month little 1 or 2 minute series that can come in. I'd love to have you on mine. I'd love to hear what
perfect.
it's like for another podcaster to have all these people come on and offering tools to help people. I'd love to have another podcaster come on about that. And so I'm all about just really trying to work together and helping people. And you, sir, are just a gift,
Thank you.
just a gift trying to do what you do. And I really honor you, man. I really do.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, let me. Well, congratulations. You made it to the end. You're a awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? Can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome and see you next time.